What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. Let's get straight to the point and talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. Oh, okay. Today, we have one of Russian cities called Ufa. And as you can see right here is one of these tanks which participated in the victory parade, which is just driving around in the concrete and the asphalt on the road, but it does not have this protection for its tank metal. I have no idea how it's called in English, but you get the idea. Long story short, it is obviously ruining the road, and the local residents, they started filming it, they started complaining it. I mean, guys, yeah, parade is all cool and stuff, but we're gonna continue using this road after, and this is going to be all in cracks and holes and things like this. In response to that, the local administration was like, so what? What, you gonna cry? See if we care. Okay, I guess. Basically, they did nothing. They posted even some social media posts allegedly saying that, look at these complainers, wanting their roads to be perfect. What a cringe population. Potentially even some of them got even fired. But I mean, yeah, at this point it is no wonder. The victory parade is over, all these Putin's speeches about the unity of people, we should respect everyone. Russia is the greatest country in the world with the best citizens in the world who love and support each other. Well, the parade is over, less than a week past, and we are back to normal, where the government absolutely does not care about its people and says well, stop complaining and live your normal lives, or it's gonna get even worse. But okay, now let's talk about some actual serious stuff, because we do have a lot of good news coming in the last 24 hours. First of all, there was reportedly so many loud noises in Crimea. Then in Avdiivka, looks like that Russians suspended, finally, their offensive, but at the same time the Z army decided to switch to rethink their tactics in their Kharkiv new offensive. To begin with, yes, according to the local residents, a lot of loud noises were coming from Belbek airfield located on the Crimean peninsula. Most likely long-range ATACMS, and not just one of them, were used in this attack because once again Russians were not able to intercept them. Unless you are the Ministry of Defense of Russia, who said that, yeah, every single one of them was intercepted. Doesn't matter. Obviously, it is a military airfield, so you can expect that a lot of military-related aircrafts were located there, such as, for example, MiG-31s, and then radars, electronic warfare systems, air defense systems, and so on. And obviously, Russians try to contain the spread of this information as much as possible, but we do have some leaked picture that potentially one of the radars of S-400 complex of Russians was fully destroyed, as you can see right here, but most likely some aircrafts, maybe they were not fully destroyed, but at least they were damaged, because I mean they were in close proximity to the impact zone. In response to that, once again there was some loud noises in a residential neighborhood in Mykolaiv as a result of Russian attacks, but then Ukrainians using long-range artillery were able to destroy yet another radar of Russians located in Velika Znamenka. So yeah, that's the situation in the south. Now let's switch our attention to the east of Ukraine. And guys, before we go there, my previous video was completely ruined by the YouTube algorithm. The number of views I got was something what I used to get 2 years ago. For this reason, once again, if you don't mind, if you want to show the support to my work, can you please simply like this video, subscribe to my channel. This does help with the YouTube algorithm, at least a little bit. And then if you also interested in investing stock market news, you can also check my second channel, the Russian Dude Investing. The link is down below. Guys, for this, thank you so much. And so yeah, speaking about the situation in the east, the so-called third Bakhmut, the settlement called Chasiv Yar, looks like that Russians slowed down their offensive in this area significantly. There was no reported advancements in the last several days. And most likely some of the reasons why this is happening, if you remember from my previous videos, it is because an elite Ukrainian forces Kraken were deployed to this settlement, and then also because more and more American support, military support started to arrive in Ukraine, such as for example drones and military equipment. And well, the combination of these two, well, as you can see, it already yields some good results. Then in Donetsk region, believe it or not, yet another Russian raider, Zoopark 1 was destroyed by Ukrainians. And then in Pervomaisk, also located in Donetsk region, Ukrainians used only one simple Ukrainian drone, and they were able to find and then destroy a local munition depot of Russians. Besides that, Russians kinda see the usefulness of their so-called turtle tanks, because previously they were targeted primarily by drones, so they started building this protection on top. But they forgot that some danger might be hiding inside the Ukrainian soil. Well, as you can see, Ukrainians, they also start to use this to their advantage, and more Russian turtle tanks become immobilized forever. But without a doubt, the most significant news from the east in the last 24 hours is that according to the Western military intelligence, they see that Russians completely suspended their offensive in Avdiivka region. Yes, Avdiivka city itself, unfortunately, is still under the control by Russians, but previously they were also trying to advance more to the west. Well, now absolutely no recorded advancement has been from this area, and once again, most likely the reason for this, it is because Ukrainians started receiving Western military support, which allows them to be protecting themselves even better. And at the same time, yes, not just Ukrainians have to relocate to Kharkiv region to protect against Russian attempts, but Russians themselves, they need to bring soldiers from some other areas. The fact is the fact, Avdiivka offensive, at least for now, from Russians, has been suspended. And since we did briefly touch Kharkiv, let's now talk about the situation on this front line. First of all, even more residential areas inside the city were affected as a result of Russian attacks, and Ukrainians in the meantime, they continue to do war-related stuff and not just trying to scare the civilians. So for this reason, here is the video from the thermal image drone, which allowed Ukrainians to destroy another Russian armored personnel carrier, BMP-1. Then, believe it or not, yet another Russian turtle tank tried to enter Vovchansk, and yes, it was protected from the above, but still there was another surprise by Ukrainians hiding in the ground. But unfortunately, it looks like that Russians are able to get a little bit closer to Vovchansk city center, because some more street fights have been reported from the inside of this city. Specifically, a lot of Z army representatives, they entered from the north of Vovchansk, and right now they are trying to bypass the city from its eastern side, at least at the moment of recording this video, so by the time it goes live or by the time you guys watching this video, the situation might change, because at this very moment the development is extremely rapid. But unfortunately, some smaller settlements around Vovchansk have been recently captured by the Z army, such as, for example, Pletenivka, Agurtsevaya, Gatisha, and Bugrovatka. In addition to that, the Z army at this very moment is also pushing towards another relatively big city in Kharkiv front line called Liptsi, and at this moment it is approximately 3.5 kilometers away from the city borders. But, according to the Institute for the Study of War most recent report, Russians nevertheless did slow down their offensive in Kharkiv frontline as well, which once again confirms my previous statements that the main goal is not to go all the way until Kharkiv. The main goal for Russians at this moment is to create this so-called buffer zone to reduce the number of Ukrainian attacks against Belgorod and Kursk regions. Besides that, it looks like that Russians started to rethink and change their military strategy in this region, so right now, instead of sending dozens or hundreds of people at the same time in a single assault, right now they're preferring to send more smaller units of just several people and try to do reconnaissance in action. So at the same time they're trying to get the information and also probe the defenses of Ukrainians and, if possible, engage in some fire. But so far, this strategy is not yielding any significant results or improvements, and the losses of Russians are still significant. But nevertheless, it is obviously not just the representatives of Russia who are fighting on the side of Putin in this war, and obviously some friendly countries such as Belarus, they might also be noticed among the Russian ranks. But there are some other countries' representatives which you might not even think about, which are being bamboozled, which are being tricked into serving into the army, such as, for example, some Indian citizens were spotted in the Z army. So let's talk about right now how exactly Putin tricks those people to fight for him, and this one will be available in my extra chapter on my Patreon. This is just me, guys, saying thank you for supporting my work once again. As you can see, YouTube channel is slowly but surely, unfortunately, is dying. For this reason, Patreon right now is my main source of income, and you, guys, is what keeps the Russian dude going. If you want to see this chapter, the link to my Patreon is down below. For these guys, thank you so much. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, it does help a lot with my work. Don't forget about my second channel, The Russian Dude Investing, and all the other useful links, my PayPal, Patreon, Instagram, and obviously merch, hoodies, pants, phone cases. Everything is down below. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow.